Hello everyone, this is Doe, welcoming you back to my channel for another sort of Convallaria video. Today we're diving into role passives, a key mechanic that enhances every character on your team. Whether you're a casual player or a hardcore optimizer, understanding these passives can make all the difference in creating synergistic teams that dominate battles. Let's break it all down role by role. First up, we have the Seeker role. Seekers are all about output. Their role passive provides 20% less damage from strikebacks. This is great for engaging enemies without worrying too much about retaliation. 6% bonus crit damage and 15% defense penetration, giving them extra bite when attacking. Finally, 12% less melee damage taken ensures they can stand toe-to-toe with enemies in close combat. Personally, when activating their role passives on the talent tree, I would prioritize things that boost overall damage output first. This passive is perfect for aggressive frontliners like Safiya, our Queen of Marks, or our long-range magic-focused Seeker, Hasna. With their ability to ignore defense and deal increased crit damage, Seekers shine in battles where every stat boost counts. Next up, we've got Breakers. These characters thrive on taking calculated risks, focusing on maximizing damage output. Their role passive includes 12% reduced damage from frontal attacks, making them sturdier when leading the charge. A massive 20% damage boost when attacking enemies with higher HP percentages than their own. This makes them ideal for picking off tanky targets early in the fight. 12% reduced range damage taken, giving them added survivability against pesky archers and mages. Breakers like August leverage this passive to excel at targeted strikes. Pairing them with units that can weaken enemies beforehand makes their damage output even more devastating. Now let's talk about the Defender role, the backbone of any team. Their role passive ensures they live up to their name. 12% attack increase when injured, giving them the edge to turn the tide in drawn-out fights. 20% less AoE damage taken, which is critical for shielding your squishier teammates during large-scale enemy assaults. And when they have a physical shield, their damage increases by a whopping 20%. This makes shielding mechanics not just defensive, but also offensive tools. Defenders like T-Daddy and Layla can tank hits all day while contributing meaningful damage, especially with skills that synergize with their shield buffs. If you've checked out my signature weapon video, an upcoming Starforged equipment, Aegis of Justice also comes with a passive that grants the wearer physical shield every 2 turns and enhances their attack and defense, which stacks with this passive. This will be a great equipment to give to Defender DPS, as it makes activating 20% damage up roll passive a breeze. Moving on to the Destroyer role. These are your high-risk, high-reward damage dealers who thrive on exploiting debuffs. Their role passive includes 12% increased defense if their HP is lower than the attacking enemies, perfect for staying alive when playing aggressively. 20% bonus damage when attacking enemies with any debuff. This makes them the ultimate punisher for control-heavy teams. 16% less damage taken when they themselves are debuffed. Talk about turning disadvantages into advantages. Destroyers work incredibly well with units that apply consistent debuffs, such as life loss or weaken effects. Pairing them with someone like Inanna for support or Tyre for AoE buffs can create devastating synergies. A few notable upcoming destroyers include Tristan and Kaveh. Both of these units excel in dealing crazy damage, and pairing them with units that can easily inflict debuffs like Agatha, who we'll be getting this week, is ideal. Finally, we have the Watcher role. These units focus on amplifying their own buffs and maintaining consistent pressure on enemies. Their passive provides 12% increased attack if their HP percentage is higher than the target's. This encourages careful planning to keep them healthy. 20% less physical damage taken while they're unharmed, making their positioning crucial in battle. 20% increased damage if they have 2 or more buffs, solidifying them as great support-dependent DPS units. Watchers like Gloria are invaluable in teams where synergy and buff stacking are prioritized. Their ability to dish out damage while staying relatively safe makes them a must-have for balanced compositions. Another upcoming Watcher DPS, Agatha, we're getting this week is also worth looking into. Not only she's an extremely mobile DPS, she's also great damage support for destroyers like Cavier, as mentioned before, through her wound mechanics. I'll go through it further on her video as I'm planning to 5-star the Wolfie Mommy. So that's all about role passives. Here's a super quick breakdown of role passives. Seeker passive. Tough and consistent, with 20% less strike back damage, crit boosts, and reduced melee damage taken. Breaker passive. High damage, with a 20% damage boost against higher HP enemies, and reduced damage from frontal and ranged attacks. Defender passive. Tanky and offensive, with 20% less AoE damage taken and 20% more damage when shielded. Destroyer passive. Punishes debuffed enemies, dealing 20% extra damage and taking 16% less damage when debuffed. Watcher passive. Buff focused, gaining 20% more damage with 2+ buffs and reduced damage when unharmed. Role passives reward synergy, strategy, and should be taken into account when picking equipments for your favorite characters. Has knowing this changed the way you think of certain units or their builds? Let me know in the comments. As usual, this is a sponsored video, so download the game if you haven't. I'll put the link in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Stay cool, stay crispy. This is Doe signing off. See you in the next video.